one of the things that has been talked about and metrics that support whether or not this growth is cannibalizing other channels or is it accretive. Mark, can you give your point of view on that?
Yeah, I think it's in all reality some of both. I think the interesting piece of this is that we've seen the businesses that have embraced online have this opportunity to expand their reach beyond either regionality or territories that they already had established, because it changes the perspective. And now you can start marketing and/or selling product to folks that maybe have been out of your traditional distribution zone, right? Or maybe selling replacement parts directly to a consumer who's going to have them installed. And so you think more about, can I drop ship that part or that item? Yeah, probably I can, right? In terms of managing that experience. Does that cannibalize something that was already in place? Potentially. But in some categories, take Scott's as an example, like that market has simply grown, right? There's just no question, right? The market actually just expanded in this time. And so I think we see a bit of both, right? Meaning in mature businesses where it's relatively traditional, take CPG products, right? While everyone used a ridiculous amount of toilet paper, or at least bought a ridiculous amount, you can't actually use it that much faster, right? And so you can consume, meaning you can buy it, but in all reality, right, there's a pace of use that can only be so fast, right? And so those industries we see more the challenge of being able to build around a new channel and really think about what distribution and fulfillment means when they're bringing those products to market. Meaning, do you consider selling products direct to consumer? Right? Because if there's disruption in your distribution channel, how do you protect some of your margin and/or your net income when at a time when you may not be able to push the same product through traditional retail or store-based distribution? That's a real problem that we've seen, right? Is this logistical and supply chain issue has challenges at different stages, right? There's, can I get the container ship landed in Long Beach and unloaded and on a truck and put in my warehouse? Got it. There's a big problem and a big challenge there. But there's another piece of that puzzle that says, great, now that it's in the warehouse or now that it's in a distribution, how does it ever get from there out to and fulfilled out through the channel? And I think there's some really interesting problems to solve there. And again, is that cannibalization? I don't really believe it's cannibalization. It's more about the evolution of these functions are changing and are going to change very aggressively, I think, in the next 2 and 3 and 5 years in terms of how much of that is done through electronic means, how much of that starts with an online transaction, and then what happens downstream in the fulfillment channels, I think becomes really, really interesting. And so, if you're a manufacturer, or distributor, those are real life challenges. But some of that is really an opportunity to think about your business differently and saying, okay, if I want to grow and expand the business and I can remove some of the barriers of regionality and or reach on my product, now I can do some really interesting things in the business itself to grow materially. Some of that may be cannibalization, sure. Some of that's also product expansion and reach.
Absolutely, and it's a must-have. It's a imperative. And Ed, can you talk a little bit about where you're seeing the growth from which buyer categories? Is it equally distributed? Is there a particular area where you're seeing the growth with your clients?
Alexandra, it's interesting. We're seeing it kind of across the board. Manufacturers, wholesalers, dealers, they're all very interested in using more digital channels, but each category has its own little challenge. Dealing with channel conflict, dealing with sales organizations and how you compensate them. But we are seeing it across the board. It's not limited to one category. I think probably for us, it's more that people are just trying to figure out, how do we go to market and how do we do it in a way that doesn't disrupt our business and in a way that actually grows our business.
And Scott, if I can ask you the same question I asked Mark about the cannibalization versus accretion, or are you just viewing strategically this channel as a must-have and we're going to grow the pie regardless?
Yeah, I'm going to say things a little bit less politely than Mark, and I'm famous for this. Uh, and I would just say, forget cannibalization. Let's leave that to the remote island peoples who maintain some strange customs, and you just charge ahead with how you have to sell stuff. And in fact, I'll go so far as to say, um, if I had any little bit of advice, it would be, don't think anymore within the confines of your own industry. It's very, very easy to get trapped in thinking that is within a set of boundaries established by your industry. And what are the people in my industry doing? And what are my competitors doing? And so on. And so one of the things we've really tried to do at UAG, and specifically relative to B2B e-commerce, because we're all B2B, by the way, we don't do B2C,
Hmm.
is to really think in terms of what is the ultimate that we can do relative to all of society, all of the world. What are the best practices we can possibly put in place, instead of just thinking pool and spa industry and, oh, pool and spa professionals, maybe they won't adopt and adapt to buying everything online. That is not true. And if you get into that mindset that is specific to some stereotype that people have in your industry, you're not going to charge ahead as fast as you would otherwise. So, for example, when we were developing our site with BigCommerce, there was debate about, well, does it need to really have this kind of look and feel that's sort of B2C-ish, or aren't our professionals just just wearing jeans and boots, and they just want to get in and black and white, order what they want to order, and then come back and repeat and do it again next week? And the answer is no. Some people might want to do that, but you have to think more broadly. You've got younger people coming in, thankfully, all the time to the industry. You have more diversity in our industry than ever before, which is wonderful to see. You cannot make any assumptions anymore. The new people coming in, they want their online shopping experience to be like it is on other sites, on consumer sites. They expect an incredible search, fast results, big colorful pictures, multiple pictures of each product, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll stop myself because I get excited about this. But the bottom line is to stop thinking in terms of, oh, if we do this, we're going to pull from that, or we're going to threaten one channel or another. No, there are no threats anymore, other than to yourself in smaller thinking that's based on something you did in the past. Thanks, and have a nice day.
Absolutely, Scott.